Hi there. Today we're going to be talking about relations and functions, and this first video is going to be talking specifically about relations. We're going to go over definition and show you a few different ways that relations can be shown and a few different ways that you're going to see relations in problems that we do. So first off, a relation is a set of pairs of input and output values. That means there's one input and one output for each pair, and then we have multiple pairs. So we've got a whole bunch of different numbers. Some of them are input values, some of them are output values, but each number is part of a pair. In addition, the input is generally represented by X, and the output is generally represented by Y. This sort of is a wordy definition, but we're going to go through a couple of different, or more than a couple, we're going to go through 4 different ways that all of these are put together. 4 different ways that you're going to see these in the problems that we're doing. The first way is simply as an ordered pair. So for instance, we have 2, 4. Well, we said that X represents input and Y represents output, and each of these is an ordered pair. It's a pair of values because there are 2 values in it. This is what makes a relation. We have a set, which is all of these, of input and output values. That's these 2 numbers right here, the 2 and the 4 for this example, 3 and -1. Each of these is a set of, or is a pair of input and output values. The whole set of numbers, the whole set of pairs makes up our relation. Down here, we also have what's called a mapping diagram. What that means is, for instance, if you take 0 as your input, you're plugging in 0 to an equation, or if we're just told that 0 is the input, and we know that that goes to 5, we draw an arrow from 0 to 5 right here. This is the same information that we have right here. The input is 0, the output is 5, but down here we're drawing an arrow from one to the other. So since we're going from 0 to 5, you're basically plugging in 0, you're getting out 5, and we do the same thing with our other numbers. Plug in 2, you get 4, that's the same thing as the 2, 4 up here. Plug in 3, you get -1, that's the same thing as this ordered pair, and then if you plug in 8, you also get 4, so that would be this pair right there. The final 2 ways that we can represent our relation, first off, we can have a table of values. This is very similar to our ordered pairs. It's just written slightly differently. The X is generally the first column, the Y is generally the second column, and usually there will be input and output labeled as well. There may not always be, but I would say most of the time we're going to have input and output written there. Sometimes the order here is going to be different than what was on the previous slide, but still, if we have 0, 5 goes with it. If we have 2, 4 goes with it, 3 goes with -1, and 8 goes with 4. The final way of representing a relation is by a graph. This is our standard X, Y graph. Remember, X is side to side, Y is up and down, and all we've done is graph these points. For instance, 0, 5. That means we're not going side to side at all. All we're doing is we're going up 5 spaces. That gives us that point right there. If we have 2, 4, that means we're going over 2 spaces, and then we're going up 4. That's that point right there. 3, -1, we go over 3 spaces and down 1 space right there. And then lastly, we have 8, 4, so we go over 8 spaces and up 4 spaces, and it gives us that point right there. So these are the 4 different ways that we can represent a relation, and these are the 4 different ways you're going to see relations in the problems that we're doing today.